And hello. Once again, this is Ted Hicks, Late Night Parents. Best ways to follow the show, latenightparents.com. Full room tonight. I usually say across from me, my tag team partner, Richie B.
Tag.
But we have a full house tonight.
Yes, full house. The table is surrounded. We have the full round table going on today.
Tonight is officially set because Miss Ursula Moore is in the building. Devon Moore is also in the building.
Yes, he is.
Representing Race to Speak Up. We'll talk with Devon and everyone shortly. Good to see some familiar faces. And yes, when we say we follow up with people and see how they're doing and get a recap and all the above, we do actually do it. Shout out to our engineer, Brian Graves.
There he is.
Big shout out to WRAQ 92.7 FM. That's upstate New York. And
WGBB 1240 AM, Long Island.
All right. Big shout out to our friends at 1240 AM and 95.9. I don't know about you, Rich. It's been a couple of weeks since we've been back.
It has.
A whole bunch of things have happened. What we won't be talking about tonight, and this is the best part of the show, what we won't talk about tonight.
What won't we talk about?
We won't talk about Brett Kavanaugh.
Oh, good.
We won't talk about the farce that went on with the White House in regards to Puerto Rico and the number 1864 or 2975, which if you round up is 3,000 lives that were lost with Hurricane Maria. We won't be talking about that.
Okay, that's it. No more conversation on
because
that.
I think we just did.
Yes.
We just did talk about it. Tropical storm Florence.
Water, I mean, it's a good thing that, of course, it has been down. It was downgraded pretty quickly as soon as it got over land, went, from 4 to 3 to 2 to Category 1 to a tropical storm. However, that does not mean there will not be as much rain, and that, in this case, that's where the danger is. It's flooding everywhere. Fortunately, the winds, of course, have subsided greatly, but what's the last number? 25, 30 inches of rain, something like that in some areas over the course of 3 days. Our thoughts and prayers go out to all of those down in the Carolinas area, Virginia area, being affected by the storm, being affected by the floods. If you were in an area and the National Guard or the local law enforcement or the Army or whoever came through and said, you need to leave, you need to leave. They don't come through and ask you to do that just because they want you to abandon your house. It means your life is in danger, and it's a last resort. Pack up, get out. At least last I heard, the number of lives lost was but 4 the last I heard. But I can expect that, of course, have changed.
Right. I think the town that was trending on social media was New Bern. New Bern, where I think 200 residents were rescued.
Wow.
And there were an additional 150 that were waiting. I mean, I don't want to belabor this, and I don't want to sound like, a sick puppy, but basically what you said, if someone is telling you, if someone from, whether it's the federal government, law enforcement, all the above, someone in an authoritative leadership position that was appointed or elected by the people,
by you,
to leave or to evacuate, you have to do that. Fortunately, having never been in that position. Me either. But Rich, come on.
Yeah, I mean, you can understand when they come by, especially, you listen to the interviews on TV, and just about every person who decided to stay says the same exact thing. Oh, we wrote out the last 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever the number is. It wasn't that bad. We're going to stick out and try to write out this one, even though they're being told this is going to be, a little different. It's, don't look at just the storm winds, look at the rain. It's coming, it's high tide, it's a confluence of bad news coming at the same time. And, I mean, sure, how easy would it be for you? It would take just about everything for either you or I to say, all right, I'm going to abandon my house now.
Right.
You can understand that, but like you were saying,
I get it.
I get it too.
But are we in major flood zones?
No, at least I'm not.
Right.
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 So
So
you have to take certain things into consideration.
you really do. And I know we sound like the Monday morning quarterbacks here, or maybe we don't sound like the people on cable news network. Not that we want to sound like that, but if someone is telling you, you got to leave, you got to go.
Right.
Now, granted, there are issues when there's a medical issue,
Right.
or, you're incapable of making the trip. There are reasons why you can't go. But if you're sitting there to say, hey, I'm going to ride it out, and then you're calling on the first responders, and you're talking about, I'm on the second floor, I'm in the attic,
Right.
and the
water's on the first floor,
and it's now entering on the second floor.
Right.
Come on.
Right.
You're not only putting your life in danger, but what about those first responders?
Right. And the other people who also do need rescuing, who
Right.
may be there because they absolutely could not get out,
Right.
where you voluntarily stayed. Again, like you're saying, we don't want to sound harsh. We don't want to sound insensitive. We definitely care about all those down there. But yeah, I'm on the same thought pattern as you. If you've been told to do it, do it.
So tell me this much: if you're in a situation like that,
Hypothetical.
you're not Rich Valdez.
I'm not me.
Okay, we're not on Long Island right now.
We're not on Long Island. Okay.
We're somewhere in the deep South.
Okay.
We're somewhere where the tide is high.
Okay.
We live somewhere in Wilmington, or we live somewhere near the beach.
Right.
And someone knocks on your door with a badge, or someone, like I said, that authority figure.
Yep.
Knocks on your door with a badge and gives you a life vest.
Right.
And gives you a permanent magic marker.
Right. And what do they tell me when they hand me this life vest and permanent magic marker?
Put it on and write your social on your arm or somewhere on your body, and give us your next of kin.
Right. So that we can identify you.
Right.
After the fact.
So if you don't heed that warning, then there's something wrong with you.
I'm not going to say you're wrong.
Like I said, I will step out on this on this plank by myself. It's
don't
okay.
Step out. I am not disagreeing with you. I just, it's got to be hard when that situation comes. But you're right. When they're doing that, your life is being threatened.
Right.
End of story.
They're trying to wake you up.
Right.
Here's your wake-up call.
Right.
This is no different than when at the former governor Christie said when Sandy was getting ready to hit, get off the beach.
Yes.
Don't work on your tan right now.
Right. Right.
Now, granted, 2 or 3 hurricanes later, he was on the beach.
He was on the beach, but that's another story.
That's neither here nor there. Folks, when you hear these type of emergency situations, we hope that you're prepared.
Yes.
We hope that there's some type of emergency preparedness or response that you have within, with your within each of your families.
Yeah, your preparation is the key, like you're saying, especially if you live in. I'm going to take that back partially. Everyone should have a preparation plan.
Yes. Of
some sort. Even if it's just a matter of, okay, if something goes wrong and the members of the family aren't together, create a plan and a location where you're going to all congregate and meet as soon as possible.
Right.
Especially if you live in certain areas where floods, hurricanes, tornado alley, then sure, you want to have even more. You want to have a bag of things ready to go. You want to have something, credit cards and items in a Ziploc bag that's sealed.
Yes.
Some cash in the bag, some clothing, some non-perishable food. Simple things. It doesn't have to be a huge duffel bag full of things, but something that can get you and your family through for 2 days.
But it's so funny because we've had those type of experts on here before.
Yes, we have.
But you sit back and you say, do you have a couple of cases of water at home?
Right.
Just in case.
Right.
I mean, not the water that you when you're walking out to go to work, you dig in and you pull out, to take one for yourself. Right. But something that you have on the side, prepared.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Yes.
I hope we've scared you enough.
It shouldn't be scared.
This is, I hope we educated you enough.
Again, we are probably a little more sensitive to these things. 9/11 was 17 years ago,
right?
And granted, the damage and initial impact was localized to downtown Manhattan. However, the entire region, the entire country, was in a state of, oh my goodness, what do I do? What's going on? What if? And but as I'm saying, up here we're a little more sensitive to these things, and I think we take them a little more seriously.
Superstorm Sandy.
Yep.
There's been instances where Hurricane Irene the year prior,
blackouts,
that you have to be prepared for this type of stuff. So, as we segue. This is Late Night Parents with Rich and Ted. Best ways to follow the show is latenightparents.com, where you will find the latest blogs. You can find the Twitter and Facebook feeds, but you can find an archive of podcasts. In the studio, we have
in person,
Devon Moore. Name might ring a bell to you. It might not. We'll refresh you. And his supermom, Ursula Moore. Big shout out to Will Moore. Will, how you doing? Much love.
What's going on, Will?
So, the last time we were in this studio together, just a brief recap, we were going through a story where we were discussing cyberbullying,
right.
Overall bullying, just a situation that went from bad to worse.
Right.
We talked about some of the perils of being online. We talked about also, I guess, the effects of when you are bullied. Mm-hmm. But we spoke with the mom, we spoke with the family that was going to just not sit there and take it. They were going to push back.
Right.
And that's the most important thing. You can sit there and you can take it, and you can say, oh, well, what was me? This is what happened. I don't know. But the person to the left of me and the person to the right of you said, no, we're not going to do it. We're not just going to be victims. We're not just going to go down in that long line of, oh, this is what happened, and that's that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the one big question, and I think we had this discussion in pre-pro.
Go ahead. Which discussion was this in pre-pro?
In pre-pro, we discussed, when I was speaking with Ursula and Will on the phone, I said, the key thing was, what have you done since that point?
Right.
We understand that there was a lawsuit that was happening, but I guess my concern is, out of the last discussion, was how do we, being a parent, and when your child hurts, you hurt.
You hurt, of course.
Okay? And that's, you hurt mentally, you hurt physically,
right.
But what do you do to ensure that someone else doesn't fall into that situation? Because you know what happened with your child. How do we avoid this from happening again? What are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
And those questions were posed last time, and they had spoke about a few initiatives. So it's so good that Devon is here to join us to tell us, since that point, I think it's been about 6, maybe 4, 6, maybe 7, 8 weeks ago.
It's been about 8
about that much. But Devon, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Hey, Ted and Rich.
How are you, Devon? Good to see you. Welcome back. Welcome back.
So the question is, since the situation when you were with us before, what have you done? We see that you're in good spirits, and we're happy about that. And as we've always said to you, we said to you last time, if you ever needed to use the station or use this show as a vehicle to push out whatever message that you have, hey, our airwaves are your airwaves. So tell us, what have you done since the last time we've spoken?
I created #RaceToSpeakUp, my organization, which helps young people from different races speak up about their bullying and hate experiences. I want to educate and empower the youth about how bad not speaking up about your bullying and hate experiences, as well as the bullying itself. The bullying itself will get worse if you don't speak up. Well, in my case, it led to me being paranoid. I really didn't even want to go to school. Mm-hmm. And when I was in school, I always thought that they were going to do something crazy. Well, crazier to me.
Okay.
And I was anxious. I also suffered my first seizure, which led me to, I ended up in the hospital. And besides all of that could happen to you because of bullying, that could also lead you to being even a suicidal if it gets to that point, which no one should be. You shouldn't have to go through bullying and hate, which is why I want to help young people with that. Actually, also, if any of you out there know anyone who has been bullied, please contact me on my social medias. My Twitter is #RacistSpeakUp. My Instagram is RacistSpeakUp, and so is my Facebook.
Okay, perfect.
That's great. So, how long ago did you set up your social media accounts? Have you had the opportunity to get feedback yet, or has anyone started subscribing to you and started some conversations with you?
I started my social media accounts a few months ago, and since then, some people have been contacting me, telling me about their bullying and hate experiences and what has happened in their experiences. The schools that would do nothing or try to cover it up, and I've been trying to do whatever I can do to help them, but it's still hard for them.
Of course.
Yes, and also my goals are to, of course, speak up at schools, and I want to implement a class into each school in the United States, or even more than just the United States, about bullying and hate. I want people to take a mandatory class about bullying and hate, where you could, in the class, you could set up little skits to show the whole school about what bullying and hate can do, and also examples of bullying and hate, so you know what is actually going on and what you can do.
I want to jump in here, Devin, and say, first of all, you should be commended for not only the situation you had to go through, but the forward steps that you're taking and your family's taking, and the support that you're receiving from your mom and your dad. I would say explanation number one, when you do give that class, most people don't even realize, well, I would say most younger people might not even realize that if they might think like they're talking hot or cracking a joke on someone or something like that. That's bullying. That's cyberbullying right there in a nutshell. People don't realize, because it was funny. I think this is about maybe 4 years ago. I worked with a youth group, and we were discussing cyberbullying. And I've gone through this story before, where I told everyone to pull out their cell phones, and most of the kids that were there, and they range from, I would say, about 8 to about 18, 19. Okay, and most of the kids pulled out cell phones. I don't know if they were all working or not, or I don't know, but they actually had a cell phone in their hand. And I said to them, have you ever said anything mean online to any of your friends? And I said, no one's in trouble. You could raise your hand, because it was a session I did just with the youth, and most of them, I would say 2/3 of them raised their hand, saying, "Hey, I said something, but it was funny."
Right.
And I said, hey, it's funny to you.
Right.
And people, that's like the first step. So I think it's key in what you're doing is you're educating the youth in what to say, what not to say. I mean, most of the times when someone says something disparaging, then yes, they understand that that's considered, cyberbullying. But if they think if they're being funny, or if you've been at a situation where someone will say something and then you start to pile on,
Mm-hmm.
you're adding to that madness. We talked before about, I believe that like a zero tolerance bullying program. I will tell you this much. I like the fact that you're starting to lay this groundwork, and this is something where I would tell you, take your time with it. Don't be discouraged. Keep pressing through. You will get speaking engagements, and it doesn't have to be a room of 500 people.
Right.
It could be 10 people.
Right.
And as long as you reach out, and as long as you can connect with at least one or two people, then you've made your mark. You've made your mark, and you take it from there, and you continue to speak out about it, because it's your story was powerful, but I like the fact that you've taken the additional steps. So you got to keep pressing on, and there's going to be a few hiccups. There's going to be a few bumps in the road. Don't let that stop you. Keep pressing on for Race to Speak Up. We definitely support you here.
Thank you.
Before we close this out, Rich, you have any questions or anything?
No, I would just add a little bit to something you just mentioned, that, just because that bullying is really from the perspective of, we'll say, the recipient, as you well know. When someone is sitting there making a joke, and it's like Ted just said, "Oh, I didn't mean anything by it. I thought it was funny." And meanwhile, you're really, they're really hurting someone's feelings. This isn't just about now while you're young and in school. Ted and I can tell you both, we have to, on an annual basis, recertify or re-sign documents for our employer. It says, all right, we attended a mandatory anti-harassment training, the sexual harassment training, there's just generic harassment trainings. These are all things which, in school you call it bullying. It's called harassment in real life, and you do suffer much more serious consequences. So this is, you're experiencing, and now you're teaching others, and showing others what, when you get older in the real life, what the value of learning what is harassment, what's not, and how to appropriately interact with people. So keep on doing what you're doing there. I think it's it's very good that you've decided to go public with it the way you have. You're turning it into a positive and trying to both assist others in dealing with it, and at the same time you're teaching those who may have been the perpetrators of the harassment that what they're doing is actually wrong, to make it quite easy. Good job.
All right. Before we close out the segment, tell us best ways to get in contact with you on social media, Devin.
You could directly message me on my Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, which are my Instagram's Race to Speak Up, all lowercase. My Facebook is Race to Speak Up, which is with each word as capital case, and my Twitter is #Race to Speak Up.
All right. Well, definitely we want to let you know Late Night Parents does support Race to Speak Up, and we'll be in touch with you. I don't have to tell you to, don't be a stranger. You know where we are, and definitely we want to stay in touch with you and find out how, your progress is going with this initiative. So as I said before, you should be commended, and thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
All right.
Having you again. Good to see you. And Mom, continue doing what you're doing too. We know you're behind there. You got this young man's back here. Keep doing that.
It's really important. I just want to say this. It's really important that you have a mom and you have a dad that are fully by your side and supportive of you. So there's going to be times, and I know I'm going to sound a little preachy because we both have kids. There's going to be times when Mom and Dad is going to tell you something and you don't want to listen to them. Oh, I want to do X, Y, and Z. take a step back, take a deep breath. Think about times like this when mom and dad are supporting you for these different initiatives. And not just the good times. Also think about the times that were troublesome. That you said, you know what, Mom, Dad, I got to speak to you about X, Y, and Z. They are there for you. They're, like I said, they're going to be your biggest fans. They're going to be the ones with the pom-poms and totally supportive, just in person, financially, spiritually, all the above. So make sure you do everything that you need to do and listen to your parents. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us again.
All right. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be back in about 30 seconds.
Of Education's Office of Federal Student Aid, we provide more than $150 billion each year in grants, loans, and work-study funds, making higher education possible for anyone. Federal Student Aid, proud sponsor of the American Mind. Learn more at studentaid.gov.
Imagine a time when no one person has Parkinson's disease, is debilitated by a stroke, and no family suffers the tragedy of Alzheimer's. Some of the best minds in America are doing more than imagining. The American Brain Foundation is seeking to find cures, where life without brain disease isn't just something we can imagine, it's something we can know.
Join Kevin Sorbo in the fight to cure brain disease. For more information, visit AmericanBrainFoundation.org.
We served our country like those before us.
It was a dangerous area. All of Vietnam was dangerous.
The carnage of war left an indelible mark on me.
We came back and built lives. As time went on, we faced new challenges and found support to handle them.
I went to the VA, talked to my doctor.
I started doing groups. I started doing one-on-one counseling.
At MakeTheConnection.net, you can hear our stories and find tools and services available to you.
Our daughter might be drinking or taking something else. We can't talk with her about it. She keeps everything secret. But when I pretend everything is...
All right, and we are back. It was good to have guests Ursula and Ursula and Devon Moore with us from Race to Speak Up.
It's good to see him. Good to see him doing well.
Good to see him really doing well. That is good to see. You know, it's like we always say to people, hey, let's catch up and let's talk and let's see how people are doing. And some of the people we do catch back up with, some of the people we don't catch back up with, I think they will be a mainstay here.
I think so too, and that's a good thing. We're glad to assist that young man.
Yes. Really, really happy about that. Want to switch gears for a second and say, Rich, I don't know if you got to see it this week. Did you see the Apple Town Hall with the latest gadgets and all the above? Underwhelming, overwhelming, or meh?
Well, I did not sit and view the entire presentation. I just caught up on some of the very quick updates surrounding iPhone releases. I'll just go with meh.
Meh. I mean, it's okay for meh.
What are we at now? 1,300?
Yeah. I got to tell you.
For a phone.
Before the show started, so we're at the point now where I'm going to turn on a phone for Nemo.
Oh, Lord.
I'm going to turn on the phone. But let me tell you, my daughter had this great idea.
Dad, give him my phone and let me get an update.
Give him my
an upgrade.
iPhone 10 or iPhone X.
That's right.
And let me get the iPhone X Max.
She just went all the way there.
She went all the way there. And I so quickly turned her around and was just like, what? I said, do me a favor. She said, what? I said, leave my room right now.
Did she give you the look of defeat
and
then sulk away?
And basically, she took an L.
Big L. She was trying to pull a super fast one.
Yeah, I'm like, come on. I don't know, Rich. So I will tell you this much. I have an iPhone 8.
You have an 8.
I have an iPhone 8. Guess what? I gave up the what was the model? What was the model I had before?
Didn't you have the SE?
I had the SE. They're no longer making the SE.
No, and that was a rumor there for a while that it was going to be an SE2.
The SE2, and I sat there and I waited patiently, Rich.
Yes, you did,
and it never happened. It never happened.
So it'll be XS, XR, and isn't there a third one like it's the Max or something like that? All I heard was $1,300. They're just out of their daggone minds.
So $1,300. That's before taxes.
Oh yeah, of course.
So $1,500 phone.
And of course, you have an activation fee on a new phone, no matter what.
Of course, you have an activation fee.
So $50 a month more, something like that. No, sorry, no.
Yeah,
no.
So
what did interest me a little more was Apple Watch.
I have one.
I know you do. You've got a Gen 2. Is that correct?
No, I have a Gen 1. Because for Father's Day, let me tell you, Pamela D. Hicks and Associates picked me up. This is like maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 Father's Days ago.
I think it was Father's Day before last.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So they picked me up a Gen 1. Now, and I said to you, Rich, last Mother's Day, guess what I picked her up?
Gen 3.
A Gen 3. So now we're at Gen 4.
Yes.
But I picked her up the non-SIM Gen 4.
Right. That's, yeah, okay.
If I do go Gen 4,
yep.
Let's see what's coming up. Well, Father's Day is coming up in June of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
I could wait for that, or maybe try to squeeze this in for the holiday.
I think it's a good Christmas gift.
But I think I might go with the SIM.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe because you can ditch the phone.
But you're going to have the phone with you all the time anyway.
Yeah. I don't know.
You always have the phone with you.
You're always going to have the phone with you. But if you want to go totally Dick Tracy or Maxwell Smart, you can totally have
you can talk to your wrist.
You can talk to
receive your calls.
Wrist. You can play your Apple Music or whatever subscription.
Yes.
I don't know. This Apple ecosystem is sickening.
I give him credit.
It's sickening.
Completely.
So
once you're in, you're tied in for life.
But so tell me this much. They make these products, these niche products, so that, I mean, are we getting to the point where just the elite can have a Max?
No, you know what? I'm going to say no, because people will pay that monthly bill. If you got a job, okay, fine, another $50 a month. Okay. It's not just the elite, that are getting these devices, you would think. But, you go to the other camp, Android camp, especially Samsung, nice devices. Note 9.
And does everything that an iPhone wants to do.
Right. And has been doing it for a while.
For at least a couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Can someone say wireless charging? Facial recognition, facial login.
Come on.
Camera. I want to see. I haven't seen what the X dot whatever's phones cameras look like, but Samsung cameras have been trouncing Apple cameras for years.
I got my daughter a wireless charger, and I never asked her, like, hey, does it work? Do you use it?
Right.
It shows you how much, I just gave it to her. I said, here's the charger. Take it. Get out of here. What was I going to ask you about? I wanted to mention something specifically. It was on Newsy.
Okay.
And Newsy said that SpaceX signed its first private moon tourist.
Who?
Did they release it?
What's the person?
Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific time. It's going to release the name
of that person.
And how much money it's going to be.
First person. Moon tourist?
Moon tourist.
All right, so I need some time to just locate the article.
Moon tourist.
So, okay.
Well, the whole thing is we won't even know who's going to be until tomorrow.
Right.
So it's going to be.
Still.
Post.
I mean, is this lunar orbiting tourist or supposedly or landing on the moon?
I think lunar orbiting tourist.
That has a little more sense to it, but still, to be that guy or gal, could be either or, you know.
Hey, I mean,
money's money.
Money is money. Money is green, and if you can pay for it, by all means.
Would you do it? Would you be the first one?
Would I be the first one?
Forget money. Money is no object.
Money is no object. Would I be the first one to do it? No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either.
Well, I mean, because we don't have huge, supersized egos.
That's true.
You know, and you want to say, yeah, hey, why don't you guys test this out?
Right.
And do it about 2,000 times.
I mean, maybe there's something going on that they have launched lunar orbital vehicles and haven't been saying anything about it, and they've done it multiple times, and we just don't know about it.
Maybe
it's possible.
I don't know.
But that'll be interesting, and we'll have to see what the time frame is on that. You know, are they saying this is going to happen within the next year, or you know, it's just something that's going to happen 10 years from now, and they're just signing the person up? It's SpaceX. Could be next week.
It could be next week. It could have already happened.
Right. The person's already in orbit, in Earth orbit. They're like, all right, push him out now.
Right.
Yeah, could be.
I mean, you want to talk about a moneymaker? You want to talk about elitists?
Now that's for the elitists.
Yes.
Now
I could be sitting here with my iPhone taking pictures, orbiting around the moon.
Did they mention anything about cost? Or all this comes out tomorrow?
I think all this is going to come out tomorrow.
I'll be listening out for that.
All this is going to come out tomorrow. 8 o'clock Pacific time. It's going to come out. Big boxing guy, not big boxing guy. Did you catch the fight last night?
I have been trying to avoid anything because, of course, it should be HBO next week. Someone's going to show it next week.
Yeah.
I've been trying to hold out. I don't know.
Oh,
I made it through the day.
I will tell you this.
But
it was a great fight.
It was a good fight? Okay.
A great
fight?
A great fight. If you saw the first fight,
yes,
it dwarfed the first fight.
All right. So then wait, you might be able to, you might give me this on the air right now then. If it was a great fight and was it a close fight?
It was a close fight.
And having seen that fight, do you debate the outcome?
I do not debate the outcome.
Is the outcome being debated at all?
No.
Really? All right, somebody...
It's not, because it was such a good fight that it could go either way.
Right.
You know, the person that I thought was going to win did not win. Okay.
So you're saying Triple G won? Because I think you or Canelo. You can tell me. I'm
no,
okay
with it. No. You said don't tell. This is a spoiler-free show.
Spoiler-free show.
Even though...
Yes. I'm sure it'll squeak out.
Even though it happened already.
Yes. When our favorite male person comes through, I'm sure I'll be finding out then.
Totally. Totally.
And I'm okay with that too, though. I'm okay with that.
It was really, really, really good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those fights where you're sitting there, you're just like, okay, that round could go to either person. And there were a couple of rounds like that.
Right. Okay. Fighters always, have dissent on something that when it doesn't go their way. But do both of the fighters seem to acknowledge the decision?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it totally sets up a third fight.
So then
totally sets up a third fight.
We don't
like there was no stench.
Right. Okay.
Like there was somewhat of a stench after the first
yes,
fight.
there was.
And you're sitting there, you're like, huh? How did that
happen? Right.
After this one, you're just like, because I will tell you this much.
Go ahead,
I don't know anything about being a referee or a judge.
Right.
I scored at 114-114. They had it 115-113.
Okay, that's one round.
That's one round. I had it. I totally. I said, if this thing is a draw, I said,
you could see it.
I could see it.
Right. Okay.
I could see it.
Was Letterman there? I always like listening to Harold Letterman and his. Was he? This wasn't an HBO thing. This was.
No, it was a HBO thing. But it was, Max Kellerman is kind of like.
Was there? Okay, I like him.
So, that was interesting. The only other thing is that I will say is, and I think, I don't think you and I talked about it, but during the week, I think it was in, let's see, I know it's in Long Island.
Okay.
It's a Long Island town.
Go ahead.
Crack pipe vending machines?
Yes, and it was actually multiple towns.
What in the world is going on here?
I read that article because I was like, all right, number one, what town is this in?
What town is this in?
Right. It was a little farther east in some towns that have a reputation already for having drug and substance abuse issues.
Oh.
So the vending machines themselves, well, some of them were, I remember at least 3 of them that they found. It might have been more, but I remember 3 being mentioned. Of the 3, at least 2 of them were placed in public space where, nothing should have been posted at all. And one of them was actually on some private space where at least immediately after the reporting of the incident, they weren't able to tear them down yet because it was on privately owned space.
Oh, my.
But the devices themselves were labeled with, it was the word pens in lowercase sticker and a capital S spends being the full spelling. So of course it's not illegal at all to sell a pen, even if you want to charge. I think they were charging $2 for these things. You can sell a pen out of a machine, sure, no problem. But when it's a pen, it's really just a glass tube, and there's no ink in it. And that's what these devices were. So basically, they, as was reported, they're selling crack pipes. And people were finding them. And, I did catch on one of the reports, they had the back of the device with the phone number of the vendor. In case there's an issue, call this number.
Really?
Clearly there. So we've heard nothing more about this. At least I haven't heard more about it.
No, I haven't heard anything.
They've been
I'm sitting here saying, okay, I'm going to ask a stupid question.
No question is stupid, as you know.
When you spot something like this, outside of calling the police,
right?
What else do? You call your congressman?
Well, see, the thing is this. One, you could be sure half the people who saw it thought, oh, it's a pen dispenser. Because it was just the ones I saw were green.
Right.
It's a green box with a slider for coins like you have in a laundromat.
Right.
And it looked like it dispensed a pen.
So did you actually see one?
On the
the
reporting.
On the reporting. Okay.
But they had pictures of a couple of them, and they looked the same. They were, someone had dug out a little spot, concrete down, screwed these things down into the concrete, and there they were. And, I guess some people in the neighborhood happened to notice what was laying around the ground around them, and it's like, that's not a pen, it's a crack pipe. But as I think you're saying, what has it come to when someone even thinks, I mean, sure, that's, it's heck of a marketing ploy there, but I know what I'll do. I'll make some money selling crack pipes. And worse, of course, people were buying them. Someone was using them out there. I don't know how long the devices were mounted or any of those details. You kind of get the idea that it was not long at all, and they were taken down, even more quickly. But like to your question, you call the police. That's the first thing you do, and you give them the information that's on the device. Here's the phone number to call to get this thing out, and they will act accordingly if they legally can. Again, I think one of them was behind a bus stop. That's the one I saw the pictures of. So I don't know, but those areas do have reputations for a very, very bad drug problem, as so many other locations around the country.
Right.
But those areas are known for it, and so you have situations like this.
Rich, painful. I will say this. I like watching CBS. I don't know if you're a fan of CBS.
I have to say, no, I have nothing against CBS, but I've never been a CBS viewer.
So you never watched like CSI
guy.
or
not that much.
NCIS?
More CSI and reruns than NCIS even. But I like both shows. Both shows are good. I catch them here and there, but I've never actively followed them.
Oh, okay. So let's leave Moonves.
They Head of CBS.
The CEO of CBS.
Who is now being accused of...
was finally taken down.
What did it take?
It took 2 articles from Ronan Farrell. That's what it seems like. Ronan Farrell is the new national treasure. So the first article with the first 6 or 7 women that came forward, it looked like he was going to skate.
That it did.
That's a problem. So then it took the next article
with how many more allegations?
With another 6 came forward.
So now here, because I did not read the initial story that much, my question would be, and I'm not really playing devil's advocate here, but do you think it's possible that that action wasn't immediately taken because they wanted to verify and just to be sure? See, because like we have talked about it before. I don't even need to say it, put it out there. Any type of sexual harassment is wrong.
Is wrong.
I don't need to go out there and say it.
Right.
I hope. But what I'm asking is, there were some cases we might have seen where someone was, alleged to have done something and it wasn't verified or it wasn't proven yet. So, sure, you want to act right away, but you have to be careful.
True.
All right. And so do you think this might have been a case of, here we have 6 allegations. It's been reported on by a credible source. Do we need to do the investigation first before letting them go? And then, is that what this might have been, do you think? Or are you really thinking that, all right, they waited for like another 6 people to come out before they said, all right, this is just going too far? Or maybe a combination of both. Maybe a combination of both.
But it's a funny situation because his wife, Julie Chen, who's the host of 2 shows.
Yes, there's some involvement here.
Still resides there.
Well, she's got no reason not to be. Allegations are against her.
Right, but the pitchfork crowd.
Yes, they're coming after her too.
Well, not necessarily.
Okay.
Or not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
But that crowd likes to. Hey, you're associated with this person.
Right.
You had to know,
right.
Or you had to know something.
Right.
Like you can't just sit here, and it's this day and age where it's guilt by association.
Yeah.
And that's not right.
And I'd say, even though there have been plenty of situations, I guess, where the wife was just as complicit, or turned a blind eye, turned the other cheek when things were going on, and let them slide. But we had a situation. What's his name? Chris Hardwick.
Chris Hardwick.
Okay.
Yes.
Allegations came out about him.
Correct.
He was yanked off of everything right away.
4 different shows.
Right. All yanked off.
All yanked off.
They did an investigation and didn't found it, and put him back in place on most of his shows.
Right.
But still, he's still, the fallout is still being affected. Right, exactly. He's got his big shows back. He didn't get all of his shows back. Maybe, maybe by choice, maybe, like you said, damage. So listenership will be down on some of the podcasts, I'm sure.
He's damaged.
And there will always be that little cloud. Someone will always think, I wonder, how much validity there was, how much truth there was to the accusation at the time. So you got to be careful.
You do have to be careful. And you do have to investigate.
Yep.
You do have to verify. And yes, fake news is alive and well.
Yep.
I want to segue, say this Late Night Parents. Best ways to follow the show, latenightparents.com. Rich, LeVeon Bell, if I say that name to you, Pittsburgh Steelers running back, superstar.
Okay, go ahead.
He wanted an extended deal.
Oh, go ahead.
He wanted an extended deal.
I know about this one.
They franchised him for $14.8 million a season.
Whew.
For just this season, $14.8 million. He's failed to show up to work. Each game check is $885,000. He's missed the first 2 games.
$1.5 million. 1.6.
Roughly.
So the one question:
Mm-hmm.
Do we know where he is?
Oh, he's alive and well on Instagram, on Twitter, and
so he's just deciding not to show up to the games.
He's like, listen, I want my long-term deal. And I'm willing. It seems like he's willing to sit out this year, so that they can no longer franchise him,
and he
can be a free agent,
and he can go wherever he wants.
He can go sign his deal.
But now, see, here's the thing, and this is more just purely from a business aspect, I think. Forget that it's sports, because, again, I'm not the sports guy. Would you hire someone or put someone under contract who played these kind of games and you were aware of it?
I would not.
That would make no sense at all, because he's trying to, if in fact he is trying to play that game now with this 1-year deal and like, all right, well, I'm just not going to show up and I won't get paid, and okay, fine, and you'll just have to release me when it's over. Then, well, you know what? Well, maybe, no, you just tainted yourself and no one's going to want you. Or that next deal isn't for $14 million, it's for $5 million.
Right. See, here's his issue. And I understand, because, I mean, you got ownership, you have the players' view.
Yep.
He's turning 30 years old. 30 years old.
That's old in the NFL. That's ancient in the NFL. Yes.
30 years old as a running back
is unheard of almost. This I even know this.
Right. So
that's even more for you. You'd think you would say, all right, give me that big check and give me another one next year. So let me ask you, if he was to show up and everything had gone normally this season, was his contract? So he was just a 1-year contract regardless. So next season, would he become free? Would have become free agent anyway?
They've already applied the franchise tag twice to him, so they can no longer apply it.
So he's a free agent regardless.
He's a free agent regardless.
So this doesn't make any sense. Mr. Bell, if your agents are out there and like to contact you so you can speak with us, please let us know. Please contact us. Hey, I know we're just a little show out here, but we'd like to hear from you. Why not?
I was happy to hear this, that Netflix. Netflix picks up all of these shows that are, I don't want to say on the scrap heap. They're on the bubble.
They're on the bubble
of the networks,
right?
Because they said, oh, it's too expensive, and we're not getting the viewership that we wanted. I guess someone is noting that network viewership is shrinking.
It's shrinking down. Yep.
And shrinking and shrinking.
Cord cutters.
Designated Survivor. I don't know if you've ever watched that show.
That was always on my to-watch list.
Season 3 will be on Netflix.
Nice.
Instead of 16 episodes, you'll get 12.
That's fine. I mean, that's already in the can, so it's not like Netflix. They just had to buy the licensing for it, basically, and say, all right, we'll take that, no problem. We're not producing it. Doesn't sound like they're going to continue the series after that. It's just going to be those 12 and that's it, or are they going to continue it, or do we not know?
It depends.
You know what? I hear that would be great if what was the, and it just slipped my mind, with the Middle Eastern Indian actress, the very pretty one.
Yes.
Quantico. That was another show, always on my to-watch list.
Right.
Even my wife said, it's a good show. Gone.
See, and that's what I'm scared of. I don't want to invest the time.
Right.
I don't want to invest the time. If there's only just going to be 2 seasons, and you're just like, okay, so how does it end?
Right. Unless they're going to tie it up.
Right.
That would be nice.
Right. I will tell you, I've watched 5 episodes of Iron Fist so far.
The first season?
The second season.
I never got through the first season.
First season was meh.
Right.
The second season, I watched maybe 4 episodes of the first season, and I gave up.
I got about 6 in and gave up.
Second season?
Yeah.
If you watch the recap episode, and then
just
dive right in,
good.
Very good.
I may do that. Yep. Okay. Power Man.
Luke
Cage, rather. So I'm calling it by his comic book name.
Yes.
Got to catch up on that too.
That was pretty good. First
season was awesome. First season
was pretty good.
Season picking up.
I will say with the Netflix shows, they tie in the side characters.
They have to. That's the key to it all.
Misty shows up. I don't want to blow it for you, but Misty shows up in episode 3 of Iron Fist.
All right.
She just jumps out the car and she was like, "What are you guys up to?"
Nice.
And you're like, "Misty." You're like, "Oh my goodness."
Right. Well, there should be lots of crossovers between those two shows.
Yes.
At some point.
Yes, totally.
That's what they should do. Make it the one show.
Heroes for Hire. That's what we
need.
We just need a Heroes for Hire show, and that's it. You know, that could be your Luke Cage season 3.
Right.
You know,
and tie it in Iron Man season 4 or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But
and maybe they are.
They have to be. They have to be. They are. But the Netflix shows, the Netflix Marvel shows have done so well. We just hope. I just want to know what's going to happen as Disney streaming service comes alive. That partnership.
I was going to ask a question, and I already know the answer, but there'll be another 10 million people who do. Are you going to subscribe to Disney service?
Nah, I'm not.
Neither am I.
I'm not.
And I also have something against, let's see, is it, I'm a big Star Trek fan.
Yes.
I heard the new show is great.
The new show is awesome.
Only available in the Star Trek app, correct? I'm in a CBS app, correct? CBS streaming service.
CBS streaming service, or after the season drops,
then they'll let you pick it up.
Then you can see it on Netflix.
Okay.
Then you can see it on Netflix.
Then I'm happy.
But if you are, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret, Rich. I don't even have to tell you this.
Yep.
You install your VPN and you direct it to the UK. You could pull up the season on your Netflix UK subscription.
Never said that, Ted.
Never said that at all.
Nope.
Never said that at all. You direct the traffic, boom, it's available.
And you're available in the UK.
It's available in the UK.
Oh
my God.
For us. Thank you, UK.
I don't know if we just broke the law there or not like that.
No, because it's through your VPN.
through your VPN, But let's get ready to get on out of here.